The camper van dream is being sold to more retirees than ever before. Sell the house, buy the van, see the country, and the industry knows exactly who is buying. During the pandemic boom, factories in Elkhart, Indiana, shipped a record 600,000 recreational vehicles in a single year. But when I pulled the recall records, the lawsuit filings, and the fire investigation reports, I found the thing nobody at the dealership tells you. A camper van is the only home you can buy in America that no building inspector will ever walk through. 10 vans, 7 that could cost you your savings or your safety, 3 that pass, and 4 free tests you can run in a dealer parking lot with nothing but a flashlight and your phone. Let's start with the biggest betrayal first. Number 1, Roadtrek, the $100 million illusion. If you shopped for a camper van in the last 30 years, you know Roadtrek, the Canadian builder from Kitchener, Ontario. For decades, it was the name in Class B motorhomes, the brand retirees recommended to other retirees at every campground in North America. The warranty was famous. The reputation felt bulletproof. That reputation is exactly what made what happened next so devastating. In early 2019, Roadtrek's parent company, Heimer Group North America, fired its chief executive, its chief financial officer, and its chief operating officer for what the company called financial impropriety. Industry reports described roughly 1,700 fabricated invoices worth more than $100 million attached to phony vehicle identification numbers, with the money allegedly funneled toward accounts connected to top executives. Vans that existed on paper, money that existed in someone else's pocket. Thor Industries, the largest RV conglomerate in the world, was in the middle of buying the entire global Heimer operation. When the scandal broke, Thor carved the North American division out of the deal at the last minute and walked away. Within weeks, the entire staff was laid off. Dealers across the country stopped honoring Roadtrek warranties because nobody was paying them. Owners who had spent over $100,000 on a van woke up with a warranty printed on worthless paper. And the safety record tells its own story. Federal regulators recalled Roadtrek vans built from 2013 to 2019 because the anchor brackets holding the second row captain's chairs to the chassis might not survive a crash. The seat your grandchild rides in bolted to a mount that may not hold. The brand name was eventually bought and revived under new French ownership, and the new vans are a different conversation. But thousands of scandal-era Roadtreks are still circulating on the used market right now. Orphaned, out of warranty, and priced like the reputation never died. Number 2, the pandemic rush van. Speed over safety. Between 2020 and 2022, something unprecedented happened in Elkhart, Indiana. The town that builds most of America's RVs, demand exploded. Everyone wanted to escape into a van at the same time. Factories that normally trained workers for months were hiring anyone with a pulse and putting them on the production line within days. Overtime everywhere. Quotas raised again and again. The industry shipped around 600,000 units in 2021 alone, the highest number ever recorded. Now ask yourself one question. When a factory doubles its speed with brand new workers, what happens to the van rolling off the end of the line? Owners found out. RV forums from that era read like casualty reports. Cabinets pulling away from walls on the first trip, plumbing connections left hand tight, flooding the interior, wiring runs pinched behind panels, warranty repair backlogs stretching 6 months to a year because dealers were buried in broken units. The federal recall database from those model years covers everything from fire risks to brake components across multiple major manufacturers, and that database only captures the defects serious enough to trigger a federal filing. The squeaks, leaks, and failures that merely ruin your trip never make the list. A camper van built in 2021 is not automatically a bad van, but it was built during the most rushed production sprint in the history of the industry by the least experienced workforce the industry ever employed. If you are shopping used right now, those exact vans are flooding the market as the pandemic buyers give up on the lifestyle. The price looks like a bargain. The build history is the fine print. Number 3, the orphan vans. Heimer Active and Corrado. When Heimer North America collapsed, Roadtrek was not the only casualty. The company also built the Heimer Active, a sleek European-styled van that reviewers loved, and the Corrado Banff, the friendly entry-level van aimed at first-time buyers on a budget. Both brands died in the collapse, and a dead brand is a very specific kind of problem. There is no warranty because the company that wrote it no longer exists. There is no parts department because the supply chain dissolved in bankruptcy court. When the custom-molded water tank cracks or the proprietary control panel fails, you are not ordering a replacement. You are hiring a fabricator. Owners of these vans also inherited the recalls with with nobody left to fix them. Thousands of Heimer, Roadtrek, and Corrado vans were included in the massive Kitty fire extinguisher recall, extinguishers that could clog and fail to discharge in an actual fire. On an orphaned van, chasing down that fix falls entirely on you. Here is where it gets dangerous for buyers today. These vans look fantastic in a listing. European design, low mileage, and a price that undercuts everything comparable because sellers know exactly what they are unloading. A retiree scrolling the classifieds sees a beautiful van at a fair price. What they are actually looking at is a home with no manufacturer, no support, and no safety net in a vehicle they plan to sleep in on the side of a mountain. If any of this is news to you, subscribe right now. We investigate exactly this kind of thing every single week, and the next one on this list is sitting on Facebook Marketplace in your town tonight. Number 4, the Facebook Marketplace van, the beautiful amateur. You have seen these listings: professionally converted sprinter van, cedar ceiling, butcher block countertop, fairy lights. The photos look like a magazine spread and the story sounds romantic. A young couple who built it themselves, traveled the coast, and now they are selling with tears in their eyes. What the photos do not show is what is behind the cedar. There is no inspection requirement for a homemade camper conversion in most of the country. None. The propane line to that adorable 2-burner stove may have been installed by someone whose entire training was a weekend of online videos. The electrical system connecting solar panels, alternator charging, and an inverter may have no properly rated fuses anywhere in the chain, and the furniture is the part nobody thinks about. In a crash at highway speed, an unsecured overhead cabinet or a plywood bed frame screwed into thin sheet metal becomes a projectile moving at 60 miles an hour, aimed at the back of your head. Professional builders anchor furniture into the van's structural ribs with load-rated fasteners for exactly this reason. Weekend builders screw into whatever felt solid. There is also no paper trail, no certification, no build documentation, no way to know if the wall insulation is hiding a rusted panel or a previous leak. You are buying a stranger's homework, sight unseen, and then sleeping inside it. Some DIY conversions are genuinely excellent, built by careful people who over-engineered everything. The problem is that from the outside, the excellent one and the death trap look identical. Cedar hides everything. Number 5, the budget kit van, a fire waiting for a spark. The internet will sell you an entire van conversion in a box. Lithium battery banks at a quarter of the name brand price. Diesel heaters for $120 that look identical to the German original costing over $1,000. Solar kits, inverters, wiring bundles, all shipped to your door with no questions asked. The price difference is not branding. It is what got left out. Reputable lithium batteries contain a battery management system that shuts the cell down before it overcharges, overheats, or shorts. The bargain cells often carry stickers claiming certifications that were never actually earned, wrapped around recycled or rejected cells. When a lithium battery fails, it does not fizzle. It enters thermal runaway, burning at temperatures that turn a van interior into a furnace in under 2 minutes, releasing gas that reignites even after you think the fire is out. Now put that battery bank under the bed, which is exactly where most budget builds mount it, because that is where the space is. The cheap diesel heaters carry a different threat. The genuine articles are sealed combustion units tested for decades. The knockoffs frequently arrive with paper-thin exhaust components and gaskets that fail early. A leaking exhaust on a diesel heater feeds carbon monoxide into the one place you cannot afford it, a sealed metal box where you are asleep. Carbon monoxide has no smell. You do not wake up coughing. You just do not wake up. Fire investigators and coroners have documented van deaths across the country tied to exactly these 2 failure points. The kit saved the builder $3,000. If you are still watching, subscribe. Every week we pull apart another industry, and you deserve to know what is underneath. 2 more dangerous vans, then the tests, then the 3 worth your money. Number 6, the former rental fleet van, ridden hard and wiped down. There is a wave of camper vans hitting the used market with suspiciously low prices and suspiciously fresh detailing. Many of them spent their first years in rental fleets. Think about what a rental van's life looks like. Dozens of different drivers a year, none of whom own it, none of whom care. Curbs hit, tanks left full in the heat. The gray water valve operated by people who never read a manual. Systems run to failure because the renter's only obligation is returning the keys. Rental companies refresh these vans cosmetically and cycle them out while they still look good in photos. The mattress is new, the cushions are steam cleaned. What does not show up in the photos is the plumbing joint that has been weeping into the subfloor for 2 seasons, or the roof seal that cracked in year 1 and was caulked over instead of replaced. Water fire is the silent killer of every RV ever built. It enters through a seam the width of a credit card edge, travels along framing where you cannot see it, and rots the structure from the inside while the surface still looks showroom clean. By the time a soft spot appears in the floor, the damage underneath is usually measured in thousands of dollars. And in a van you live in, it is also measured in mold spores you breathe all night, every night. A rental history is not automatically disqualifying, but sellers are not always eager to disclose it, and the maintenance records, if they exist at all, tell you what was fixed, never what was ignored. Number 7. The washed title van, the hurricane special. Every time a hurricane pushes water through Florida, Texas, or Louisiana, thousands of vehicles drown. Insurance companies total them, and the law requires the title to be branded as flood or salvage. That brand is supposed to follow the vehicle forever. It often does not. The scheme is called title washing. The flooded van gets bought at auction for pennies, moved to a state with looser paperwork, retitled, and the brand quietly disappears. Then it gets a cleaning, a new listing, and a one-way trip to a buyer 2,000 miles from the storm that killed it. In a regular car, flood damage is bad. In a camper van, it is catastrophic, because a camper van is a rolling apartment full of things that hate water: the house battery system, the inverter, the furnace control board, the tank sensors, low-mounted wiring harnesses that corrode from the inside of the insulation outward, failing one circuit at a time over the following 2 years, and soaked into every cushion, every wall panel, and every inch of subfloor, the moisture that becomes the mold you will be sleeping with. Flood vans can look immaculate because the sellers running this scheme are professionals at making them look immaculate. The tell is never on the surface. It is in the history, and if you already own a van, you can check part of that history right now. Pause this video, take the vehicle identification number off the driver's door jamb, and run it through the free federal recall lookup on the NHTSA website. 10 seconds on your phone. It will show you every open recall that was never repaired on the van sitting in your driveway. We will wait, because this is not really about 7 bad vans. It is about a system. Here is what that system looks like. When a builder constructs a house, a government inspector physically walks through it at every stage. Framing, electrical, plumbing, all checked by someone with no financial stake in the sale. When a factory builds a camper van, no such person exists. The chassis underneath, the Mercedes or Ford or Ram portion, is crash tested and federally regulated. Everything bolted on top of it, the bed, the cabinets, the propane system, the wiring you sleep next to, is certified by the industry itself, under standards the industry writes. The sticker on the door frame is not a government inspection, and federal safety oversight only reaches into the living space after enough things go wrong, which is why the recall database reads the way it does. This is not a few bad apples. It is a structure where the incentive is speed and the accountability arrives years later, if it arrives at all. So before you sign anything, here are 4 tests that cost you nothing. Test 1. The flashlight test. Bring a flashlight and go where the photos never go. Open every cabinet and shine the light at the ceiling seams, the corners, and around every window and roof fixture. You are hunting for water stains, bubbled paneling, rust rings on screws, and any whiff of mildew when you first open the door after it has been closed up. Press your palm firmly into the floor around the shower, the toilet, and the rear doors. Any softness, any flex, walk away. A soft floor is never a small problem. Test 2. The VIN test. Take the vehicle identification number from the door jamb and run it through the federal recall lookup on the NHTSA website, right there in the parking lot on your phone. It is free and takes 10 seconds. It shows every open recall that was never repaired. Then run the same number through a paid vehicle history report and look at the title trail. A van that changed states right after a hurricane season or shows a gap in its history is telling you its secret. Believe it. Test 3. The seatbelt test. Grab every rear seat and seatbelt in the van and pull on it hard. Then look underneath the seat pedestal. A factory-certified travel seat is anchored through the floor into structure with serious hardware, and the belts are anchored to the seat frame or the chassis, never to a plywood cabinet. If a seat wobbles or a belt is bolted to furniture, no one you love rides back there. This is the exact failure that triggered federal recalls at major builders. The pros got it wrong. Assume the amateurs did too. Test 4. The weight sticker test. Find the yellow cargo carrying capacity label, usually inside a cabinet or on the door frame. That number is how much weight the van can legally and safely carry, including water, gear, food, and you. Some beautifully equipped camper vans leave the factory with only a few hundred pounds of real capacity left. Overloaded, and you are driving on brakes and tires engineered for for a lighter vehicle every single mile. If the seller cannot find the sticker or does not know what it means, that tells you something too. 4 tests, $0, 1 flashlight. Now, the 3 vans that pass. Safe pick number 1, the Winnebago Travato. Winnebago is one of the only household names in this industry that came through the boom years with its reputation intact, and the Travato has been among the best-selling camper vans in America for a full decade for a reason. It is built on the Ram ProMaster by a company with a real engineering department, a real national dealer network, and factory-certified seating with proper anchors. Nothing about it is flashy. Everything about it is documented, supported, and repairable in any state you break down in. New Travatos run in the range of $140,000 to $180,000 through Winnebago's nationwide dealer network, and clean used examples with service records start well under $100,000. For a first van, boring is a feature. Safe pick number 2, Pleasure Way, a family-owned builder in Saskatoon, Canada that has been hand-building Class B vans since the 1980s and has flatly refused to chase volume. They build a small number of vans per day, slowly, with the same crews, and it shows in the details. Real hardwood cabinetry anchored into structure, wiring you could photograph for a textbook, and a long history of owners who keep their vans for 15 years. Expect to pay $150,000 and up new through a small network of hand-picked dealers across the United States and Canada, and expect used ones to hold their value stubbornly because owners rarely let them go. You will pay more. You are paying for the absence of everything else in this video. Safe pick number 3, the Airstream Interstate. Yes, Airstream sits under the same corporate umbrella as the mass-market brands. The difference is the factory. Airstream builds the Interstate in its own plant in Jackson Center, Ohio, on the Mercedes Sprinter chassis, keeping the full Mercedes safety suite, collision mitigation, blind spot monitoring, stability control intact rather than stripping it for cost. The living area is finished to a standard the budget lines do not attempt, and the resale values prove that the market knows it. New Interstates start above $200,000 through Airstream's dealer network, which is exactly why a certified used one, inspected and documented, is the smart way in for most buyers. It is the most expensive van on this list. It is also the one built like someone expected to be held accountable. 10 vans, 1 pattern, a collapsed company that sold paper instead of vans, rush builds, orphan brands, amateur wiring, drowned titles, all wearing the same fresh detailing and the same friendly price, and 3 builders who still act like your family is going to sleep inside their work because it is. Run the flashlight test on any van you are considering this week. 10 minutes with a flashlight will tell you more than an hour with a salesman. Subscribe so you never sign for something the salesman would not sleep in himself. We do this every single week. If you know someone shopping for a van right now, send them this video before they send anyone a deposit. And drop a comment telling us which van you are looking at, because we read everyone's. Stay sharp, stay safe, and keep rising.